Bristol Rovers are rock bottom, so Pompey, with 7 wins and a draw in their last 8 matches, start as firm favourites, particularly as they have the hottest shot in football in Guy Whittingham. His 4th hat-trick of the season in midweek against Peterborough leaves him requiring just 1 more goal to smash Billy Haynes' club record of 43 in a season set 66 years ago. There has been a blow of an unusual sort to mar Portsmouth's preparations, though. Recent signing Chris Price dropped a toolbox on his foot while hanging a picture at home on Thursday, so he's out. And Warren Neal, absent for 3.5 months with sciatica, returns at number 7. And there's been a late change to the Rovers lineup too. Goalkeeper Andy Beasley, who's on loan from Mansfield, was given permission to go home yesterday, but got a phone call this morning at 10 o'clock telling him to dash back because both Rovers' other keepers, Gavin Kelly and Brian Parkin, are injured. So Beasley makes his debut in this lineup. John Ward has opted for Justin Channing on the right side of midfield in preference to David Mayhew. And Marcus Stewart starts the game up front with Carl Saunders, who's recovered from hamstring trouble, on the bench. Refereeing today, Brian Hill from Kettering. The last time he was here was last season when Liverpool were the visitors and Rovers drew with them 1-1 that day before going out in a replay at Anfield. Portsmouth have brought 1,200 followers with them from the south coast, and interesting, I saw Andy Orford a moment or two ago urging them to give plenty of vocal encouragement to the team, and I'm sure they'll do that on this tight little ground at Twerton Park. And there is Andy Beasley, happy to get his first touch of the ball. Remarkable story that he dashed down this morning from Mansfield, getting down here to Bath round about 1 o'clock. It's a good long clearance from him. Christensen heads the ball straight back up in the air. That wasn't good. Butters knocking it wide. And it's picked up again by Alexander for Bristol Rovers. So Billy Clark looks to lob this one. Played it over the top of Stewart, and a safe catch for Alan Knight. There's a bit of a push on the back of Whittingham there. I think it was the only way Andy Tilson knew how to stop the danger man. So, Pompey's free kick. Referee Hill asking Christensen to wait. And it's a similar position to the one that Christensen had a few moments ago. And this time he hoists it up towards Butters. Headed away. McLaughlin for Portsmouth. Back as far as Orford now. And the little clip back is met by Yates. So still neither goalkeeper really troubled in the game, but this might be Portsmouth's opportunity with the Ray Daniel throw in for them. Midway inside the Rovers half, coming down the slope. Christensen was in some space. Daniel has tricked his man neatly. Now a good cross here and they might be in trouble. It was coming towards Chamberlain, who is still there with the goalkeeper Beasley, and that will do Beasley the world of good. A confident catch under pressure from Mark Chamberlain. And the whistle has sounded now, but it's the first moment of any doubt at all for either goalkeeper. The ball swung in there by Daniel, and then when it was headed straight up in the air, Beasley had to be positive the whistle had gone anyway. Still Bristol Rovers 0, Portsmouth 0, and a good header from Stewart, but the ball has still found its way over to Ray Daniel, who's figuring very prominently in these early Pompey raids. And here he is again. This time it's up to McLaughlin, down for Whittingham. Whittingham spreading it wide, a good ball, shows he can make the play as well. Neal forward for Walsh, who lets it run. That was a good touch, and in the end it's booted out by Tilson. There was a nice little dummy on the edge of the penalty area. And poor Walsh at the heart of everything that's good at the moment. Warren Neal's ball in here. And just watch the clever dummy from Walsh, which nearly opened up the way. Here's Kit Simons, Welsh international. To Christensen, who loses it. And he's not quite adjusted to the pace of the game yet, Bjorn Christensen. Then it's knocked down by Stewart, but Neal in the way. And a brave header from Clark. Pounder will give chase, but I think it's just going to have the legs on him. But good work from Clark, getting his head in the way. It's a bit of an uphill struggle in more ways than one for Rovers. No foul given, and so Whittingham took it on the chest. Daniel plays it forward. McLaughlin can't get there. Whittingham continues his chase. And Beasley once more has to put the ball straight into the crowd. So 18 minutes gone. No goal scored at Twerton Park yet, but here is Christensen for Portsmouth. And it's Orford. Up here is Walsh, edge of the area. This is where he's so dangerous. He lurks menacingly in those positions, controls it well, but Daniel's ball in this time was a weak one. And no free kick. Referee says play on, and Stewart does just that, but there's only Taylor in support of him. So Stewart's got to do it all by himself for the moment. Waiting now for Channing, and then the impetus has been lost. Although Waddock has pushed it forward towards Taylor. And Neil has plenty of time to effect his clearance to Whittingham. Rides the challenge well, feeds Chamberlain into space up the middle. Walsh making a break on the left. Here comes Whittingham, edge of the area. Guy Whittingham inside. Whittingham makes the first shot of the game for himself. And it's Beasley, the goalkeeper, who comes to prevent him breaking that club record. Lovely interplay between Whittingham and Chamberlain. And when the return ball came, Whittingham showed his speed here, managed to ride the challenge and get in the shot, and that's good goalkeeping from Andy Beasley. Chamberlain's corner for Portsmouth. And it's long, it's Butters going for it. And that will go out. Or will it not? No, kept in by Beasley. Who then hacks it straight up towards us here in our gantry. Neil's throw in. There's not a lot of movement ahead of him, so he hasn't got many options. He picks Chamberlain in the end. And it's laid down the line, and they continue to make good progress. Chamberlain, a good ball in here, and Rovers would have been in trouble, but the defender Tilson gets his head to the cross, and it's a corner. There are signs, though, that Portsmouth are just settling to their game. It does take a little time adjusting to the slope here at Twerton Park. It's Portsmouth certainly calling the shots for the moment. A corner for them. Good header and a brave one, and it's stopped on the line, and then Beasley gathers the ball in. It was an effective corner, and Beasley is very grateful to have the ball in his hands. Chamberlain's corner kick, and it was certainly well met here. Powerful header, and then it was Christensen and Walsh unable to force it through. Now immediately at the other end. It's cleared by Orford. Daniel has time to keep it in. And then it's hooked back straight up in the air by Tilson. And Stewart has taken on Orford and played it in. It wasn't the most telling of clearances, and that's going to be a corner kick for Bristol Rovers. So both sides just living more dangerously than they were in the opening quarter of an hour, when chances certainly were at a premium. But this is Bristol Rovers' chance. They'll look for the head of the tall men. Tilson has gone up there. Taylor's up there as well. It is towards Taylor. Here's a header from Waddock. And another one from Tilson. It's gone behind. Without Alan Knight being troubled. And Andy Tilson still unable to register his first goal of the season. Here it is from the corner kick. Driven high, they always look for the head of John Taylor. He's there going for it. When it comes out, it's Waddock and then Tilson, and a long way off the target. There he is now, Christensen, and Chamberlain has to come back here and then plays it behind his own defender. And once again, Alan Knight responds promptly. That's the second ball that's gone out of the ground. So we're on ball number 3. Clark will resume proceedings with this throw-in. Finding Waddock, and that's a good-looking ball for Clark again. This is a good cross. Butters, who gets it away. But it really has been even Steven in this game in the first half an hour. Chances few and far between. And both defences and goalkeepers very happy with the situation. Tilson now for Rovers. That's a good-looking ball, and Simons it was who headed out. And a stumble here means Orford, in the end, can do no more than play the ball straight into touch. Well, Portsmouth beat Rovers 4-0 down at Fratton Park earlier in the season, and guess who scored all 4 goals? A certain guy, Whittingham. He's not had a sniff really yet this afternoon. Here he is now. It's all very tight on this little ground in Bath. And Guy Whittingham would love to break that record today. I'm sure he's going to do it at some stage before the end of the season, but it would be rather nice to do it today. Christensen's got in the clear. Christensen, Bjorn Christensen has scored! The first goal for Portsmouth, it really came from nothing. And Bjorn Christensen, the Dane signed from Newcastle United just before the deadline, has paid off the first instalment. Well, everybody was watching Whittingham, and it's the little touch from Walsh which opens up the Bristol Rovers defence. Away goes Christensen, and a terrific shot in off the upright, and the ball in the net. Portsmouth have the lead, and that's a critical blow to strike with just over half an hour gone. Christensen's first goal for Pompey. Well, that's a real boost to Portsmouth's promotion chances. They're leading here at Twerton Park by 1-0, and a good goal it was too. Now at the other end, it's Simons who loses out. Taylor takes it on for Rovers, hits it straight across goal, where the header from Orford clears the danger, and Neil continues that with a clearance into touch. Well, that goal came after 32 minutes from Bjorn Christensen, who actually played his first match against Rovers this season for another club, Bristol City, when he was on loan to them. So he knows all about Bristol Rovers. Here, edge of the Portsmouth penalty area is Channing. Good ball infield from him. Alexander, and then it's knocked up rather haphazardly by Clark. Alexander's there once more, so is Chamberlain. And here's a good chance now. The ball from Stewart's. Knights made the save, and it didn't matter. The linesman had flagged offside. The linesman, Mr. Griffiths, firm in this decision, and it was well for Portsmouth as well. Chamberlain had just dwelled on the ball. Alexander hit it through the gap, and Stewart was offside. Well, it's easy to see why Bristol Rovers do concede so many goals. That's the 77th they've conceded in league games this season, and they do get caught out, and they might be caught out again here now. Chamberlain goes on, continues his run. His men both right and left of him. This is Whittingham, and an unselfish ball in for Walsh, and the keeper Beasley managing to get the punch this time. He nearly flattened his own defender, Yates. Portsmouth have won it back. Christensen down the line for Neil, and Rovers just rocking a little at the moment. As once more Beasley must clear straight into touch. And it's a good, positive ending to the half for Portsmouth. 10 minutes to the break. And Portsmouth leading 1-0, scored by Bjorn Christensen. Noticeable that Simons has gone up to try and get on the end of this throw-in. Clark was there first, though. And that's going to go out from the head of the goal scorer. Well, Bjorn Christensen hasn't scored for such a long time. Marcus Stewart tests his speed on Warren Neal, gets the throw in. We seem to have had a lot of free kicks and throw-ins in this match, but only the one goal. That's the most important statistic. Here now is Pounder. Good looking ball in. Stewart at the back post. Just couldn't get there. Channing, in fact, came in even further behind Stewart, and the ball ran dead. Not a bad ball from Pounder, however. Just had that little bit too much elevation on it for Channing. Daniel looking to take on the defender, Alexander. Going past him as well and winning the corner kick. So a good finish to the half for Pompey. The linesman over there, Mr. Colwell, not quite happy about the way Chamberlain had positioned the ball. He is now. So he floats it in. The keeper's come for it. Beasley didn't quite get there, but he was helped out by his co-defenders. Daniel might still have the chance to play this one in. Again, he wants to take on Alexander. Gets the ball back from Walsh. Good ball in as well. Beasley's missed it. No, he's just got there. Oh, my word, that was close. He got his fingertips to it, and that was just sufficient. There's a teasing ball in this one. Daniel and Walsh had worked the 1-2 beautifully. Lovely ball in as well, it is from Ray Daniel. And Beasley just got there, didn't he? Then Andy Tilson. Pounder has come in field, but he wasn't able to control the ball. In fact, just about every player is struggling to control it on this tricky surface. And referee Hill sends the teams off to the dressing rooms. Portsmouth very happy then to be leading by 1-0 here. And it came on 32 minutes from that man, Bjorn Christensen. His first goal following his move from Newcastle United. And a very happy man he is indeed. So half-time here at Twerton Park. It's going well for Pompey. It's Bristol Rovers 0, Portsmouth 1. Well, that goal by Bjorn Christensen extends Portsmouth's sequence this season. They failed to score in only 8 out of their 41 league games. And their promotion bid really has been founded on the strength of their attack, particularly, of course, the goals of Guy Whittingham, who's almost got as many goals himself as Rovers. Rovers have scored 46 this season in the league. Guy Whittingham's got 38 all by himself for Pompey. But here, straight away come Rovers at the start of this second half, and Rees whipping the ball across, Butters with the clearance, and then Daniel able to take it out of harm's way. And Rovers really needing an early goal in this second half to get themselves back into the match against a team on top form recently. They have the ball. It's Tilson who'll swing it in, and the keeper, Knight, might be put under pressure by Taylor. He was, and wasn't able to get there, Alan Knight. Nonetheless, Portsmouth have got the ball out of play on that far side for a Rovers throw-in, but a good start to the second half from the Pirates, Bristol Rovers. Waddock. Here is Pounder. It's not gone out, so the ball might be swung in now. Again, it's towards Taylor. And this time it's safely clutched out of the air by Alan Knight. More than 500 games for Pompey Knight. Today's 485th league game. And as confident as ever as he comes to meet this cross, just plucks that one out. No trouble at all. Now then, Christensen with this free kick inside the area. Chamberlain, and again Chamberlain. McLaughlin might try a shot. Not much of one. Alan McLaughlin, 11 goals this season for Portsmouth. Once £1 million man, of course, when he moved to the Dell at Southampton. Guy Whittingham, the former Army corporal, who was once rejected by Bristol Rovers. He asked for a trial when he was only about 15 with them, and he didn't get one. So he went to score goals for Portsmouth instead. And he's in the middle now as McLaughlin's here, and the ball turned back, and Walsh again. Whittingham, this must be it, surely. Whittingham, yes, that's the goal. That's the record for Guy Whittingham. It wasn't the prettiest, but they're ecstatic. And after 66 years, Billy Haynes' goal-scoring record is gone. Well, you can't give Guy Whittingham one chance, never mind two. And Paul Walsh really set him up here. Walsh holding the ball, the keeper making the save. Whittingham, you had to back him there, and when it came back to him, he thumped it joyfully into the net. Christensen had played it in initially, and then it was Walsh who really created the opportunity for Whittingham, and at the second opportunity, he slammed it high into the net. And he takes the salute. Well, Jim Smith, the bald eagle, able to take a rest, look a little more relaxed. It seems that Portsmouth are going to stretch themselves into a 3-point lead over West Ham United today and bring themselves to within 5 points of Newcastle, his old club. McLaughlin and Bristol being torn apart again. McLaughlin is a man alongside him, and that's a trip, and this might even be a red card here. It's certainly a booking for Ian Alexander, who acknowledges the referee as he reaches for the pocket. In fact, it's Tilson who is picked out. I wasn't sure whether Alexander or Tilson had got the crucial touch, but he was on his way towards the net, and it's a yellow card for Tilson. He can't complain. And Portsmouth have a free kick in a very advantageous position, with Christensen, Chamberlain and Butters gathered around the ball. Portsmouth leading 2-0 and looking for a third goal here. The game following a predictable pattern, but can Pompey stretch themselves into an unassailable lead? Butters with the shot, and it flies over the top. Well, Guy Butters got his first of the season in the 4-0 midweek victory over Peterborough, and he wasn't far off a second one here. He sliced it a little bit with the left boot. It flew wide. It flicked away off McLaughlin, and here now might be a chance. Hardiman will drill in a shot, which he does, and it's the first real shot of the second half from Bristol Rovers. But it's a good job they've not been in a shooting range today, because they'd have missed the target every single time. And this is Hardiman. Full marks to him for having a go, but you see how far off he was. Well, Butters that time won it illegally, according to Mr. Hill. So Rovers free kick, and Waddick has already taken it for Hardiman. And then Stewart. He just stumbled, which was unfortunate for him, because it means Chamberlain can break for Portsmouth. And the ball bounced, it bobbled actually, and Walsh couldn't control it, so here is Stewart again. Certainly impressive at times, Marcus Stewart. Well, that's a corner. Yes, it came off Simmons. I think he tried to fool the referee, Kit Simons, there. He undoubtedly played that ball and then allowed it to run out, and the referee was close enough to know that it really was a corner kick. So some optimism now for Bristol Rovers. But they're 2 down, and they are bottom of the table, of course. Things just not really gone for them at all this season, especially in the second half of it. But from this corner, they have a chance. It'll fall for Waddick. He didn't meet it again right. So Channing playing it forward. And if that one runs out, it will be dead, and it's, in any case, an offside verdict. Here's the corner kick. They get enough players in there. But Portsmouth have been so solid, but Gary Waddick, like all his teammates today, able to hit the ball well. Up front it goes from Simons. Foul given for the challenge by Yates on Walsh now. But I wonder if the stuffing has really been knocked out of Rovers by that Guy Whittingham goal, the record breaker. So he's got 5 goals against them this season, 4 at Fratton and 1 here today. Christensen with this free kick for Portsmouth, and Butters is coming back post, and it took 2 men to get the ball away from him. Butters always a threat, of course, at set pieces. He's a good 6'3". Saunders controlling it on the knee, playing it back for Tilson, and then up towards Taylor, who's good flick of the head. Stewart goes on. This might be something now for Stewart. He rattles in the shot. Oh, a good goal. And even the referee is applauding. What an excellent goal that is. The supporters joined in. He's a delighted young man. He's 13th of the season, which makes him the top scorer here now, ahead of Taylor. Taylor had set him up, and Stewart went on, and with all the confidence in the world, lofted it over the top of Alan Knight, and it's tucked into the net. It's a classic striker's goal, this one. And Marcus Stewart, a rapidly developing striker, has got a consolation, certainly for Bristol Rovers. It may turn out to be more than that, of course. It's a goal that really hadn't promised. But it's a gamble by John Ward that's paid off in that he's put 3 strikers up front now, bringing on Saunders to play alongside Stewart and alongside Stewart and Taylor. And that goal by Stewart has rekindled the flame. And you can bet the crowd here now will be roaring their team on. Even a point would be good for them now. Ray Daniel will certainly take his time. And a bit more for Jim Smith to think about as well on the Portsmouth bench. Stewart's here again, and he's wrestled to the ground by Orford. Free kick for Bristol Rovers. And you do get the feeling that Rovers are just beginning to hot up their game. They've needed to do. That's where Orford wrestled his man to the ground. But Marcus Stewart's goal has certainly got Rovers buzzing and their crowd, and they're trying to encourage them now as Rees will flight this free kick in, and Knight gets a punch to it. Wasn't a convincing one. Whittingham's header out. Here's Saunders, who must be offside. As Waddock headed the ball back into the danger zone, Saunders is a good 5 yards offside. John Ward must be delighted with that substitution. He's been rewarded by Stewart's goal, but he knows there's still a lot to do. It's given us a game though, and Portsmouth are going to bring on their substitute Warren Aspinall. Throw in for Portsmouth, still leading 2-1. Well, they've been pegged back by that excellent goal from Marcus Stewart. Now it's Walsh. That looked like a foul on Walsh, who stays down, but referee Hill says nothing for that. I don't think Walsh can believe it. Space here now, and Channing might use that space. Oh, he stumbles, and it might be costly, this. And Channing, when he gets the shot in, it's gone wide. Well, Channing had all this time in the world, really. And then he just lost his footing on the edge of the Portsmouth penalty area. But the Portsmouth defence must be asking how he got into so much space. There was the ball played out to Channing here. And he'd acres of room in which to work. And then he just put himself off, really, and then lashed it wide. Stewart and Clark combine. No handball, but then it's Orford who hands the ball straight back to Stewart, who takes it on. Saunders to Channing. Keeps it in. Channing's ball across. Stewart set there, inside the area. So for Pompey Simons. Christensen wins it this time. Whittingham's on his left. Christensen carries on. Plays it wide. Walsh, he'll get support from Chamberlain. Walsh instead flicks it across, and Tilson has to dive to put the ball out of play. And Tilson has hurt his shoulder, I think, there. An injury for Andy Tilson as Walsh played it across. It's a brave diving header, but he fell awkwardly on his shoulder. And so Roy Dolling, the Bristol Rovers physiotherapist, is there, applying whatever treatment is required. And after the treatment has been completed, it's a corner for Portsmouth. Chamberlain to take it. Pompey leading 2-1. It's coming out here for Aspinall. And a real toe poke. Warren Aspinall not scored a goal since a penalty against Luton back in March. Blows his kisses to the crowd. Well, he's always been a bit of a character as Warren Aspinall. Oh, that's a dreadful piece of defensive work by Hardiman, who just gave the ball away, and then that's not a very convincing touch either by Aspinall, playing it to nobody in particular. So it's still Bristol Rovers 1, Portsmouth 2, but Hardiman certainly gave the opportunity there for Aspinall to do something constructive with it. And unfortunately for Portsmouth, there was nobody up there with him. Stewart winning it. And here's Taylor inside the area. Appeals for handball, but not given. So Waddock cuts the ball back. Here's Saunders with a header. And it's put out of play by Warren Neal for a Bristol Rovers corner. And Portsmouth find themselves under more pressure. And I don't think they can quite believe this, because at 2-0 they were coasting it, and now suddenly it's 2-1 and they're being put under more and more pressure. Here's this corner kick and Taylor will go for it. The keeper's punch out. Hardiman fell as he went for the shot. Instead it's come here. Oh, goal! Justin Channing. It's been disallowed. It's been disallowed. Well, that's so unfortunate for Rovers and for Justin Channing, who drops his head. Mr. Hill said that there was a foul on the edge of the area, and so it doesn't count, and that's a real blow for Bristol Rovers, and in particular for Channing, who couldn't have struck the shot more sweetly. Let's have a look if we can see the foul. The goalkeeper had punched the ball out, and that must be where the foul occurred, edge of the area, but Channing had beaten Knight all ends up. Portsmouth looking for their 6th away win of the season. They really had a wretched start to the season away from Twerton Park, and they're taking off the game Paul Walsh, who's had an excellent match, but will be replaced for the closing moments by George Lawrence, former Southampton, Oxford, Bournemouth player. Here's Stewart, the goal scorer, coming looking, and then Butters puts that one well upfield. And I think Guy Butters would be probably my nomination for man of the match. He's done an excellent job at centre-half for Portsmouth against the twin threat of Marcus Stewart and John Taylor. And that's Stewart again, winning it in the air. And then a stumble. There might be something on here now. Inside the area, Taylor. And the ball is just taken away from the toe end in the nick of time. Still danger existing, however, as Lawrence goes across. He might have to run it out. In fact, he's managed to knock it up as far as the halfway line. But that was a dangerous moment for Portsmouth. Forward here for Taylor, laid back, and then the shot is from Rees this time. Channing, the man who thought he'd got an equaliser a few moments ago. It's his shot charged down this time, and it's hit wide here, and Lawrence might take on the defender. Hardiman, he's going on. Lawrence, if he picks himself up, he might still get something. Well, in fact, a free kick's been given against George Lawrence. Well, both managers are off the bench at the moment. Standing there, the one, Jim Smith, wanting to hear the final whistle with his team in front. The other, John Ward, desperate for the game to continue as the search for an equaliser goes on. And it's not just a search for an equaliser, it's a search for salvation and for a lifeline in the First Division. Aspinall, on goes Lawrence, and he'll get there this time. Only Whittingham in the middle, however. 2 Rovers defenders up against him. Chamberlain's behind him if he spots him there. Chamberlain should have called for the ball by now. And all it is a throw-in the end to Bristol Rovers. And still the referee says play on. So there's a bit of life left in the game yet. And I'm sure John Ward will think there's still life in Bristol Rovers, but it's a victory here for Portsmouth. The fans delighted. It'll be a joyous journey back to the south coast for them. Guy Whittingham has broken a 66-year record today with his 44th goal of the season, and it turned out to be the winner. After Christensen had got one in the first half, Marcus Stewart gave Bristol Rovers hope with a sweet goal indeed for them, but it wasn't enough, and Rovers move a step closer to Division 2, while Portsmouth, with their 8th win in 9 games, take a giant stride towards the Premier League. A very good victory indeed for them here. It's ended at Twerton Park. Bristol Rovers 1, Portsmouth 2.